Have you ever looked down at your body and silently asked yourself, is it over for good? I used to believe that a man's vitality slowly dies with age, but just 3 weeks after making a few small changes, I felt my body come back to life. And today, I want to share this truth with you. 7 seemingly harmless habits that silently kill a man's masculinity. After 60, and more importantly, how I turned it all around. My name is Phil. I'm 66 years old. I live in Ohio. One early morning, I woke up and looked in the mirror. Gray hair, tired skin. But what stopped me was the look in my own eyes. The fire was gone. The spark had faded. What I saw was a gaze that felt absent. If you've ever felt like you've lost something, like you're no longer the man you once were, then this video is for you. No pills, no surgery. I started with the smallest things. What I ate, how I slept, and even the way I spoke to myself. And that's where we'll begin, right now. Number 1. I used to think my best days were behind me. I remember it clearly. It was a winter morning, early February. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. like I had for decades, but unlike all the years before, that morning, I didn't want to get out of bed. It wasn't laziness. It was because I no longer felt like myself. I sat up and looked into the bathroom mirror, and the man staring back at me wasn't the strong Phil I used to know. What I saw was sunken eyes, a weary forehead, and most of all, eyes that had lost their spark. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't despair. It was simply emptiness. I started noticing the little changes. My body felt soft, like I had lost my physical anchor. At night, lying next to my wife, I felt distant, even just an arm's length away. I began avoiding touch. And worse, I started avoiding myself. I thought, maybe my time has passed. Maybe this is just what happens to men my age. But thankfully, something inside me refused to surrender. I started digging, rereading old notes, picking up books again, watching doctors' videos, and I discovered something that changed everything. My decline didn't come from age. It came from its habits. The things I did every day without even realizing it. And that was the moment my comeback began. The first step, it wasn't some grand change. It started with recognizing one seemingly harmless habit, one that silently drains male vitality more than almost anything else. That habit was sleeping, but never truly recovering. Let's move to the next chapter. Number 2, habit number 1. Sleeping without recovery. Sleep, something we all do every day, but the truth is, I was sleeping, not resting. At the time, I was getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night, but every morning, I still woke up tired, sluggish, with a heavy head, and I used to think that was normal. At this age, who wakes up feeling refreshed anymore? Until I came across a quote from Dr. Mohit Khera, and it hit me like a wake-up call. Most men don't need more sleep. They need deeper sleep. I started paying attention to myself. I stayed on my phone until 11 p.m., scrolling mindlessly. Blue light, negative news, random videos. Then I'd collapse into bed, with my nervous system in chaos. No relaxation, no rhythm, just shutting down, not resting. And that was the first silent habit that drained my vitality. I had broken my natural rhythm. How did I fix it? Very simply. I started with 3 small changes. 1. Turned off my phone at 9 p.m. I left it in the living room, never brought it into the bedroom again. 2. Listened to 10 minutes of soft meditation music. Nothing fancy, just gentle rain or breathing sounds. 3. Went to bed by 10 p.m. every night. Made it a nightly ritual. After just 3 days, I began to feel a difference. I woke up with a clearer head. I felt the urge to do something the moment I opened my eyes. And the most surprising thing, my desire came back. Not just physically, but emotionally too. I realized something profound. When the body is allowed to rest properly, it begins to heal. And a man can't fully live if his nights are filled with empty sleep. That's why I say, staying up late and staring at screens may seem harmless, but it's often the starting point of your decline. Once I fixed my sleep, I started paying attention to something else. My dinner habits. Something familiar, but silently sabotaging my energy. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 3. Habit number 2. Eating the wrong way after 6 p.m. Back then, I was actually proud of my eating habits. I didn't smoke, didn't drink too much, and I always ate 3 full meals a day, especially dinner, which was always hearty and comforting. A typical dinner for me looked like this: a full bowl of rice, a plate of rich, savory braised meat, a can of beer just to relax, and a sweet yogurt or a few cookies for dessert. Sounds pretty normal, right? But that very familiar dinner was the reason I slept more heavily, woke up feeling drained, and worst of all, began to feel emotionally cold and disconnected in my intimate life. One day, I came across a research article that said, eating high carbs and sugar at night increases insulin, suppresses testosterone, and reduces male vitality. It shocked me. I thought I was nourishing myself, but in reality, I had been poisoning my masculinity, night after night, for decades. What did I change? I tried one simple thing: no eating after 6:30 p.m. And my new dinners included a light bowl of vegetable soup, a bit of steamed fish, olive oil or flaxseed oil added to a fresh salad, no heavy carbs, no sugar, no beer. Was I a little hungry at first? Yes, but after just 1 week, I slept more deeply, felt lighter in my body, and most surprisingly, I felt a warm, alive energy flowing again. I realized something powerful. Vitality doesn't come from supplements. It comes from how we nourish ourselves every single day, and why dinner isn't for stuffing your stomach, it's for recovery. I had been wrong for decades just by doing the right thing at the way wrong time, and that was a hard but priceless lesson. But it didn't stop there. Once I fixed my sleep and my eating, I thought I should exercise more to speed up the recovery. I started running, lifting weights, biking every day. And you know what happened? The more I pushed, the weaker I felt. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 4. Habit number 3. Overtraining in the name of health. Once I realized how much sleep and dinner impacted my vitality, I told myself, now I just need to train harder and my body will bounce back. So I started a new journey. I bought new running shoes. I created a workout schedule, morning jogs, 30 minutes, evening weightlifting. Sometimes I'd bike 5 to 7 kilometers around the park. At first, it felt great sweating, pushing myself, fired up with the belief, I'm coming back. But strangely, the more I trained, the more exhausted I felt. My body ached constantly. It wouldn't recover. My desire completely vanished. I started sleeping poorly again. Even though I wasn't using my phone and I was eating clean, I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. Until I stumbled upon a talk by Dr. Mohit Kara. He said something that made it all click. Men over 60 don't need to train harder. They need to train smarter so their hormones don't collapse under their own effort. Turns out, I had been pushing my body past its limit. Every time I overtrained, my cortisol, my stress hormone, spiked, which suppressed testosterone and left my body in survival mode, not vitality mode. So what did I do? I quit weightlifting completely and returned to brisk walking for 15 to 20 minutes every morning with focused breathing. Deep breathing 10 times after each meal to support digestion and activate the parasympathetic system. Gentle evening stretches. Before bed, just 10 minutes. No grunting, no pain. Just enough movement to let blood flow and energy circulate. Within just 1 week, I clearly felt no more aches in the morning, a sharper, calmer mind. And most surprising of all, my desire returned naturally as if it had never left. I finally understood. After 60, you don't need to compete with youth. You need to make peace with your body. Exercise shouldn't drain you, it should awaken your vitality. And that's when I began learning how to move in ways that restore life, not deplete it. But there was something even more silent, a hidden enemy behind the eyes, the forced smiles, and the quiet dinner tables. Isolation, the silence of men. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 5. Habit number 4. Isolating in silence. There was something I once mistook for strength, but in truth, it became the deepest silent crack in my life after 60. That was silence. I didn't tell anyone about my fatigue. I didn't talk about feeling weaker, sleeping less, or losing interest in intimacy. I kept it all inside, even from the woman who shared my bed. When she asked, "Are you okay today?" I just gave a faint smile and said, "I'm fine," but I wasn't fine. I felt myself slowly fading away. I spent more time alone, spoke less. My emotions felt buried beneath the normal shell of an aging man. I thought I was being strong, but in reality, I was drowning myself in isolation. Until one afternoon, sitting in the park, I overheard 2 older men nearby talking. They spoke openly about sleepless nights, low libido, and even feeling like they weren't themselves anymore. They laughed, they related, they weren't ashamed, and in that moment, I realized, we men don't lack strength. We just lack spaces where it's safe to be weak. That day, I started practicing how to speak up, not to complain, but to share. I told my wife about the changes in my body, about the breathlessness, the lack of passion for life, and something beautiful happened. She didn't judge me. She wasn't afraid. She simply held my hand and listened. That alone, one gesture, one understanding glance, was enough to soften my heart and bring warmth back to my life. After that, I did one more thing. I joined a morning walking group for older adults. We walk for about 30 minutes each morning, chatting along the way. No one tries to teach or fix anyone. We just tell stories. We share. And what I gained was connection, the very thing I had lost. I came to understand a powerful truth. Isolation is the invisible poison that drains male vitality. But connection, it's the quiet current that reawakens the heart, the mind, and the will to live. After a few weeks, I felt something new inside. I wanted to laugh, to reach out, to do something for myself and for the person beside me. I was no longer cold. I had returned to being a present, living man. But it doesn't end there, because there's something else, something we all think is harmless. That's actually takes quietly draining our strength every single day. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 6, habit number 5, hidden sugars everywhere. Have you ever noticed that some things we don't even think of as sugar are actually sweet poisons silently destroying male hormones every single day? I didn't eat candy, didn't drink bubble tea, wasn't into desserts. I was confident I wasn't addicted to sugar. But then, I started taking a closer look at what I ate each day, and I was shocked. In the morning, I had a glass of sweetened milk, a few slices of sandwich bread with strawberry jam, maybe some canned fruit or flavored yogurt for dessert. At lunch, industrial fish sauce plus a meat stew cooked with rock sugar. In the afternoon, a glass of iced milk coffee. And after dinner, some cookies or canned fruit again. Total sugar intake, easily 40-50 grams a day. Far beyond the recommended limit for a grown man. And do you know what happens when we consume sugar regularly? Sugar causes chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body. This inflammation suppresses the pituitary gland, the command center for testosterone production. Even worse, sugar destroys insulin sensitivity, making you store belly fat, lose energy, and slowly lose your vitality. Once I understood that, it felt like a blindfold had been lifted. I looked back at my 50s and 60s and suddenly realized It was those invisible spoonfuls of sugar, deceptively sweet, that quietly wore down my masculinity day by day. So what did I do? No extremes. I didn't cut out all sugar. I simply made 3 small changes. 1. Cut out all white sugar, syrups, soft drinks, and processed foods. 2. Switch to fresh fruits, bananas, blueberries, apples, in controlled portions. 3. Replace sweetened coffee and sodas with plain water or herbal teas. After just 2 weeks, I noticed. My mind was clearer, no more brain fog in the afternoons. I slept deeper, no more waking up in the middle of the night. And most importantly, my natural desire returned, without a single pill. I never expected that cutting hidden sugar would bring back more than just mental clarity, but also that deep sense of manhood, little by little. Sugar isn't just sweet on the tongue, it sweet talks your hormones into sleep until you no longer realize what you've lost. And once I had cleared the sugar out, I asked myself, my body may be clean now, but am I getting the right nutrients to truly recover? That's when I discovered a common and dangerous deficiency. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 7, habit number 6, lacking vitamin D and zinc. Have you ever felt like you've done everything right? Sleeping well, eating clean, exercising gently, cutting sugar, but your body still doesn't feel truly reignited. I've been there too. After nearly 3 weeks of lifestyle changes, I saw real improvements, but something still felt missing, like a fire that wouldn't burn all the way. I wasn't weak anymore, but I also wasn't as fired up as I had hoped. I had energy, just not quite enough for manhood. Then during a routine checkup, my doctor asked me, "Do you get sunlight regularly?" I said, "Not really. I stay indoors a lot." "Are you taking vitamin D or zinc?" I shook my head. He smiled and said, "That's your missing piece." I went home and did some research, and what I found surprised me. Vitamin D isn't just a vitamin. It functions like a hormone. It activates testosterone, boosts energy, and stabilizes mood. Zinc is a vital mineral that helps unnaturally produce testosterone. Low zinc, a lower libido, poor sperm quality, fatigue, and irritability. And here's the sad truth. Most men over 60 are deficient in both due to limited sunlight, weaker digestion, and nutrient-poor diets. So what did I do? 1. Every morning, I sat outside in the soft sun for 10-15 minutes. No glasses, no hat, no sunscreen. 2. I began supplementing. Vitamin D3, 2,000 IU every morning after breakfast. Zinc, 25 to 30 milliliters a day, every other day to avoid overdoing it. 3. I added more zinc-rich foods to my meals. Oysters, pumpkin seeds, lean beef, egg yolks. After just 10 days, I felt something shift. My body felt gently warmed in a deeply masculine way. Not feverish or restless, but like a steady current rising from within. Warm, grounded, and fully present. My thinking became sharper, my emotions felt clearer, and I felt like I was truly myself again, in a strong, grounded way. Vitamin D and zinc deficiencies are like a tiny key you forgot to turn. You may have built a powerful engine, but it will never start without that one little key. And when I finally had enough sunlight, enough zinc, enough nourishment, I realized something even deeper, something no pill could ever replace. It was the need for touch, connection, and care for myself. Let's move on to the next chapter. Number 8. Habit number 7. Forgetting to touch yourself with care. After I adjusted my sleep, diet, movement, cut out sugar, and added the right nutrients, I began to feel my body if I'd come back to life, little by little. But something still felt missing. It wasn't hormonal. It wasn't about food or exercise. It was about the big distance between me and myself. I realized that for years I had stopped touching myself. Not just physically, but emotionally. I had stopped listening, loving, and being gentle with the man I was. I only touched my body in quick showers. I no longer let my hands pause on my chest, my stomach, or my face, as if those parts no longer mattered. And especially, I had stopped being intimately close to my wife in that slow, connected, emotional way we once had. I used to think, at this age, what's the point of intimacy anymore? But then one evening, my wife gently placed her hand on my chest. Her eyes were soft and she whispered, "You know, I don't need anything grand. I just want to feel that you're still here, with me, and with yourself." I froze. I had been chasing vitality through hormones, vitamins, exercise, and had forgotten that true masculine power begins with connection. From that day forward, I started fresh. Every morning, I take 2 minutes to rub my hands, gently touch my face, place a hand over my heart as a way to greet my body. I practice mindful touch or self-massage with natural oils like a healing ritual. I no longer see intimacy as a task or a performance. It is now a way to touch, to live, and to give of myself. And since I've started doing that, everything has profoundly changed. No more feeling like a stranger in my own skin. No more shame or pressure to prove anything. I became a man who is whole again, warm, alive, and fully present. When you touch yourself with respect and care, your body responds with a magic no pill could ever create. Final thoughts. If you've made it this far through all 7 habits, then you are truly ready. Ready to say, I won't let age define who I am. I am still a man and I deserve to live fully. I'm 66 years old. I hit rock bottom and came back, not through medication, but through deep understanding of myself. And I believe you can do the same. In the next video, I'll share 5 simple morning exercises that take just 5 minutes a day to naturally restore your energy. No gym required. If you found this valuable, leave a comment or hit follow, because I'm not just telling stories, I'm building a planned community of mature men who live with strength, presence, and depth. On